Hi everyone, thanks for tuning into this video on the Zenwar channel. Today we're going to talk about an interesting subject, which is the stones around Kailash Mountain. I'm actually in the process of planning a trip to Kailash Mountain, right? And I was thinking, wouldn't it be awesome to bring back a souvenir from Kailash Mountain? Just get close to the mountain, close enough, just around it, just really a few feet around from the mountain, and maybe like pick up a little stone or something like that, like a little souvenir to bring back, that the vibration of the mountain, the vibration there. And then I started laughing because I thought, and then I started remembering the story of some of these stones, around the mountain. And because the stones around Kailash Mountain are actually sentient stones, right? They're sentient and intelligent stones, but they're not able to take activity in the same sense as, for example, a being that's able to move and carry around physically. In that way, they're not able to move, but they're able to do other things, right? They're sentient and intelligent, and they're aware, right? The stones around Kailash Mountain, even the stones around them, right? And then when you look at the mountains around Mount Kailash, especially those two brown mountains, right beside Mount Kailash, that each have a name. There's a story between those mountains and the opposition between those two mountains, right? And the colors of those mountains, and then basically the storyline between them, and how they, in a way, guard Mount Kailash in a way, and all of this, right? And then there's the whole story, and all the stones and their role and what they do at the level of creation, and all the stones around Mount Kailash, because basically it's the center, right? It's the center, the physical center um, of the story, right? So you have the energy center, which is moving around the center, who happens to be the Kitab, the avatar, okay? And then you have the physical center, so it's going to be interesting when for me to go visit Kailash Mountain, and to go experience that. So anyways, I was thinking about, what, I don't know, I'm not sure that I'd bring take a stone that was so close to the center, and bring it away from the center with me, but maybe I'd make an exception, maybe a small stone or something like that. But a little bit like some people that they go to another land, they take a bit of sand with them and they carry it around, as a souvenir. I'm a sentimental person, and I was thinking maybe I'd take a little stone this big, from right beside Kailash, and bring it back with me as a souvenir. But the thing is, the stone's aware, the stone's alive, it's sentient, it's intelligent, so there's a whole story and all that, and a whole karma, right? That is generated from bringing that stone from its where it was close to the center of Mount Kailash. That's where the stone was located, to a different location, right? And then all of the consequences that you have to think about, karma, of doing these types of things, right? So I thought I'd talk a little bit about that, So sometimes you don't even think about, you go to a place, you pick up a little stone, maybe a little rock there, and you bring it back, and you don't think about the karma associated with moving that rock, right? Did you know that some rocks are aware, and the rocks, for example, at Mount Kailash, they've been so close to the center for so long that they've developed awareness, and they exist there in their community with the other rocks that have developed awareness, and they do things at the level of creation as aware beings that are powerful in their own way, in their own right, as beings that are very close to the center of Mount Kailash. There's stones in the Himalayas that are the closest, so they're closer than, for example, big mountains that are close to Kailash. There's the stones that are right around it, right? So these stones actually have an awareness, right, and a sentience to them. So it's interesting to know that, and I wanted just to share that in this video, to tell you that yes, stones can become aware, right, sentient. As we put stories within stones, and stones are exposed to stories, and basically absorb stories and are part of stories. Stones, and the story that basically is sentient within a stone can take full dominance within the stories of the stone, can be very well sentient, right? And intelligent, right? And does have the capacity to, as a story within the stone, to the awareness within the stone, to interact with the world outside of the stone as well. So, what is its capacity to interact? Well, it's basically based on its location and what it's close to, right? So, so it has a certain capacity to interact on certain things wherever it is, so closer right beside Kailash Mountain, bringing away, it'll be able to interact with things at different levels as a stone, as a sentient, intelligent stone, So if you're bringing it away, if you're taking a stone around from Mount Kailash, and you're bringing it back, you ideally want to take the right stone too. You want to take a stone that wants to come with you, and you want to ideally take a stone as well that is gonna be a positive one, and not necessarily one that is gonna give you some unexpected surprises, right? So thinking about taking souvenirs back from the Himalayas, from Mount Kailash, think about that twice, because these stones, have gained, have been living there, and I've gained some of them a sentience, right? An intelligence and a sentience, So you're moving around other sentient, intelligent beings, right? So that can be an interesting thing, but you want to make sure that you're allowed, in a sense, to do that, right? That's a good idea, and that's not going to have a negative impact on anyone or anything, right? Because a stone that sits beside Mount Kailash, a few feet away from Mount Kailash on the floor, is a very important stone in the placement and in the creation and the order of all of creation, right? It's very close to Mount Kailash. It's a very important stone. It could be this small little stone this big on the floor, 10 feet away from Mount Kailash. It's a very important stone, most likely, in the greater scale of things here. And as these beings, as these stones, right, are sentient and intelligent, they can also attain to certain levels and develop themselves, right? So understanding that they can develop themselves, you have to understand that if you're taking a stone like that back, you're taking back some stories with you, some old stories potentially, and some other things, and a sentient intelligent being that can interact with you. So you want to be careful of any of these things, if anything. Ideally you would go to Mount Kailash, and for the average people, I was thinking about maybe taking back a stone this big, for my personal reasons. But for the average person, I would recommend, you go to Mount Kailash, leave every stone where it is. Just you're already stepping on the stones to get to Mount Kailash, to get close. That's enough. Don't necessarily take them away from their place of residence close to the center and bring them back with you. It's not necessarily a good idea to bring a souvenir back from Mount Kailash like that. That's not necessarily the souvenir you have to take. What you want to do is you want to get there, and you want to basically leave yourself open and receptive, okay? And you want to stay there as long as you can too. If you can stay a little bit longer, you're going to be able to absorb more, because you're absorbing, meditating by the mountain, right? And also, when you look at the mountain, you're going to be able to see on the different sides, the sides with the female gods, and you're going to see the side with the male gods, the north side, where you can see Bara and Shiva Baram, and the Damaru of Shiva on that side, in the center, in the middle of the mountain, at the base. And then you see also the other faces that are carved into the mountain, and everything that happened, and the whole pantheon, and the whole deal. Okay, so you see all that. But you have to look for it, and you have to open your eyes and see what's in front of your eyes, right? People don't necessarily see what's in front of their eyes. So look for it. Listen to these words, these videos, and look for it, and at that point, what else is it important to know? It's important to know that if you turn around the mountain, if you circle the mountain, that's a huge spiritual achievement for yourself. It's a heck of a trek to get there and all that, but circling around the mountain is a huge spiritual achievement for a person. It'll change your whole life. Your whole life changes after the time you've circled around the mountain. Okay? Everything changes. All the possibilities for your future change. Okay? It's very, very big. Okay? A very big accomplishment. So it's very, very good to know. When you get there, be very respectful. You're in the presence of the manifestations, the wall of the gods. The gods are all looking at you, around you, and everybody approaching the mountain. Right? This is the center of creation, the center of the physical part. That's Kailash Mountain. Okay? So, do you want, you don't necessarily, it's up to you if you want to go to Kailash Mountain in your lifetime, and if you can, right? Um, but understand that it's a very, 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 very heavy and important part of a spiritual journey to go to Kailash Mountain and to turn around the mountain, right? And also, if you can turn around the mountain 108 times, okay, now you're getting into a realm of possibilities that are beyond possibilities, okay? So that's going around, turning around 108 times. Okay, most people won't get that. So when I'm going, I'm not aiming to go 108 times, although that would be something to aim for. But I'd have to stay there. I don't know, maybe 6 months or something like that, and that would be a nice trip in itself. But I don't know that I'll be able to do that on this trip, right? That I'm aiming for. So or my next trip. So that would be something to do 108 turns around the mountain. Right, each turn takes about 3-4 days. Guy my size, probably more on the 4 days. So at that point, that's quite a few days to do 108 turns. Okay, 108. That's staying there for a long time, right? So yeah. So basically, understand that the rocks are conscious, and that those two brown mountains are conscious at Kailash. The two, you know which ones I'm talking about. If you just research Kailash, you'll see the two brown mountains I'm talking about right beside each other. You look at them, you see one on each side, and Kailash in front. That those two mountains are conscious, and they're the gatekeepers of Kailash Mountain. Okay, they're serving in that capacity as well, and there's an opposition between them. So they believe they see things in a different way sometimes as well. Okay, and all the little stones all around them on the floor and all that, those are all conscious stones. They're all aware and conscious, and they're all doing things and interacting at the level of creation, as they're very central and very close to the center of creation. And as stones, as conscious beings very close to the center of creation, that they have developed, and they do many things at the level of creation. So once again, before you go there, you take a stone and bring it back with you. You want to think about what's really going on and what are the consequences, and with potential consequences, and should you really be doing that, knowing that those stones are aware, are conscious, right? So it's something to think about. Also, when you're there, be very respectful of the mountain. No one should be climbing Kailash Mountain. That's an obvious one, and no one's allowed to. You know, but if you're gonna touch the mountain, be very respectful. That's a very important thing. If you feel like you need to touch the mountain, that's a very important thing for you. Well, be very respectful when you touch the mountain. Touch it with reverence in that way, because you're touching the mountain, the mountain of the gods, right? And touching it is a very it's I personally will touch the mountain if I get the opportunity to touch the mountain. But then again, I also represent, or I am the being that is already on the mountain, right? Shiva Brahm on the mountain, with my mark on the mountain, holding the Damaru of Shiva, right? So I feel in that sense that I'm already on the mountain, and I'm the avatar of the being that created the mountain. So in that sense, I feel okay touching the mountain. But at the same time, if you're going to touch the mountain, be very respectful. I saw someone. I saw someone who on YouTube who had licked the mountain. I don't know if I'd be licking the mountain of the gods. I don't know if that's respectful. You have to understand that when you die, you're gonna end up on the side of the Vaitarani River, and you go into your judgment of God. You're gonna have to explain why you licked his wall of his face. So yeah. So anyways. So yeah. So all that to say, the stones around Kailash Mountain are conscious, have attained consciousness, and as such should be treated with respect, as should basically the mountains around there as well. So it's important to understand that you have reached, when you are there, the center of creation, okay, the physical center of creation, And when you were there, it's important to understand that, as a deva, as a human, you're still a small being when you get there, you know. So it's very impressive, and I look forward to going for my first time. These are all experiences that I know just from my knowledge as an avatar, but in body, I have yet to go now in this life. So I'm looking forward to going. Although I do have experiences, for example, of when the first civilizations worshipped Bara and then Baram at the wall, and all of these things, and painted his face and put the red dot here on that represents his ability to see, right, to see through anything, and basically then would paint the infinity symbol on the Damaru of Shiva in the very center of the Baraka Siva, but always after they had painted the red dot on Bara, because he governed and safeguarded everyone against the instabilities of the Baraka Siva, which was hard to control, as is the maintenance of the equation and order of the equation that governs the Kala chakra, in the sense that we always strive to have so many better things. We strive to and develop the system that we have and to make a better life for us out of what we have. And as that, I say we all should work together to make life a more beautiful and happy place for us all. Thanks for listening.